Hi, I'm Jason. This is a Star Wars show about spaceships. That's Sketchy Rob.
Look, if they know what's good for them, they'll make it about spaceships. No one was like, whatever person. It's the Falcon, it's the X-Wing. Sometimes it's Solo, but he's dead now. That's the way it works.
I think Santa just has his red Santa fedora on, and he was like, "Afternoon, my lady." Right now. Hi, Santa. How's it going, man?
I'll be seeing all your mothers soon.
Yeah.
Santa's got forced milk and cookies in his tab on his browser. Don't look that up.
You can't do that when I'm drinking coffee, man. That isn't right,
bro. It just flows, you know. I like the Force.
So today we're gonna be talking about some Ahsoka, an Ahsoka article, nothing huge, and then a new Boba promo image that does not make Santa happy, and yeah, it's pretty cool. And on a side note, if you're a UFO kid like we are, there's this really cool podcast on iTunes that I listened to last night called Macro Dosing, and one of the guys from that Barstool Sports organization or whatever was one of the aerial school kids in Zimbabwe where the UFO comes, and he doesn't push anything. He's just like, yeah, man, it was this crazy light, and like just like kind of tells the story. He's like, I don't know, I wouldn't believe me, but yeah, it's it's pretty rad. That was a pretty good listen.
When you said macro dosing, I haven't listened to it yet, but I was like, are they saying they gave the kids large doses of LSD and then did smoke and stuff and light shows? Like, is it like Rendlesham in Nigeria?
Pretty much. I cleaned up today. What's the occasion? Sometimes I just I just can't take it. I don't know why, and then I just start going, man. I don't look back.
My schnauzer had never seen me without. And so, like a few months ago, I just decided to shave it once, and he barked and growled at me.
Really?
I was like, it's me. And he was like, oh, what?
I don't like change. But yeah. It's my Tuesday trim. But let's throw the Boba image up on the screen and scrutinize the picture like grown men do.
All right.
Is the composition of this image weird, or is it just me?
It looks like Rodriguez's hands are doing this. Okay, it's like,
yeah,
it's flat. It's flat composition. Look, I'm gonna be honest though, like that's par for the course for Rodriguez. If you know, like the composition for the live action stuff in Battle Angel Alita is not terribly dynamic. Like I love the scene where unfortunately there's a dog that dies and she avenges it. I don't like the dog dying, but that scene.
Yes, you do. You hate dogs.
It's very cinematic.
Your dog growls at your face.
But the composition is very, very flat. Like it's sort of the way it works.
You told me that if you had a death dog in Willow, you'd put it down.
I'm not feeding into your hate.
Okay.
It doesn't give you power. This hate.
Let me ask you this: your wife was just became one of those crazy gargoyle dogs from Ghostbusters, and now Gozer's dead, and she's in the husk.
Smells like barbecue dog hair. Yes.
Do you punch the dog statue shell in the face really hard, or do you lightly remove the casing around your wife?
They did both, right?
Yeah, I'm asking which style are you?
I wait to see if they break through first, or if I can hear in there. Otherwise, I'm just breaking her head off. Like that's the other version of Ghostbusters. They go and it's just blood spills out of her. Oh!
So you would snap the dog's neck, is what you're saying?
No, I'm not feeding into your hate, Jason.
All right.
You trim that beard and just snuff Jason comes out, you know.
So right here we have a lot of sidewall. Oops, I hit
that could end up being a great scene though. Like it's hard to take scenes out of context. I think The bigger problem is when like they give this stuff to different outlets.
Yeah,
I blame marketing for this, you know, like this is
showed up on a Disney page for what's coming next month.
You know what I'm reminded of? Before Civil War came out, the trailer of them running in the airport scene against one another, everyone was like, look how flat it looks. The lighting's boring. There's not a lot of heroes. And here's what Civil War actually looked like. And now everyone's like, that scene was so great. Yeah. So it's very difficult. I mean, I can complain about the materials. I think the lighting, like right there, if that's the shot, if you cropped it right there, people go, that's a great shot. Look at the lighting. The armor looks pretty good in that lighting. Like, so it's got a good backlight right there, you know. Yeah. So the Jabba Palace set's a little TV-ish. I thought it was that way on Mando, but that little light flooding the floor right there, that's cool.
Yeah. So, yeah. I like it has this production uses a lot of shadows. I've noticed more than most, and shadowy underworld kind of thing, I guess, is where they're taking it. When a problem comes along,
Santa complaining about red boots.
You must whip it.
Santa's like, only the black boots with the big buckle, never the red boots with the black buckle.
I like
Santa wears those.
Yeah, I like how the little red part of her outfit peeks out of the darkness on this thing, though. It looks kind of cool.
This could end up being the best scene of the whole series. It's so hard, guys.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
take out of context a shot like this.
No, I just find it interesting that yet they
this is not they should never have released this shot though for promotional. Like, why would you do that with something obscuring a third?
Right.
Hey, why don't we, when someone's yelling, we'll just freeze frame it and that's the production shot too. It's like, and in some ways, man, it's not as well lit as say the Bradley building in Blade Runner, but I can see a little bit of that influence. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
The grills, the texturing on the wall, the weird patterns. You know, like there's a little bit of, like, if you look at Deckard's apartment, it has that like Egyptian lettering and stuff. So I could sort of see some of that there, but it's definitely got a TV vibe because part of that's just the I guess vaulted ceilings. Unless you can see the whole vaulted ceiling in the shot, to me just look like sitcom sets that kind of extend off the camera, right?
Like 3 walls kind of set up in front of you, and you shoot in the box.
Yeah, like box. Mary with Children looks like a set because you can't see up to the rafters. You know, like it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. It looks like a house. It's a house. It's a real house.
Al, I was watching the one where Al was trying to fix his roof in the rain, and he kept falling off the roof.
Yeah.
So, I love it.
Yeah. I was going to say I am getting a vibe for a lot, at least for the first episode. I still believe everything we're seeing is from the first episode, and I'm getting the vibe that these two are kind of inseparable in the episode.
Let's look at Rodriguez's episode in Boba season 2. The fight, the cinematography wasn't, and the compositions weren't that genius, right? Yeah. I mean, in some ways, we were like, it literally looks like when they'd shoot out in Thousand Oaks, out in the canyon for Bionic $6 Million Man. You know, like he's on some rocks and they're out there outside, but people love the fight. So Robert Rodriguez, you know, not everyone paints a picture in a frame like the Zack Snyders, and I don't think it's necessary either. I really don't think a lot of if you freeze frame a lot of the frames from A New Hope, they're not very cinematic, you know, like there's a few moments, but there's not like, it's a lot of them in a room talking.
Yeah, and I'm by no means a Robert Rodriguez expert. You know, I'm really familiar with this work in the 90s more than anything, and my impression off of that Robert Rodriguez is that he is better with kinetic action and flow as opposed to actual composition of shots. There are obviously some great shots in Desperado and great shots.
Something that he has that even the recent anime series Arcane does not is he has really good choreography a geography during fight scenes.
Mhm.
So like where everyone is in a room. He doesn't do that like Nolan where you get really up close to the camera and you're kind of like, I don't know what's going on. People are getting the shit kicked out of them. Like you
Yeah,
really do understand the geography of the scenes and stuff. So that's
right.
hard to get down on a screen. So
Yeah.
it looks like a Star Wars TV show. I'm hoping
Wait,
that the show.
here's how it went. Watch. This is how it went. So it was like Robert, we're setting up the shot, dude. We got Baby Yoda here, right? What are we gonna do?
Get the second AD.
Okay, just camera up there. Oh, by the way, Gina Carano won't wear her mask, and she's defecating on the floor.
Hey, yo, Citizen Bard, you want to do your fucking job? This guy thinks he's
Yeah.
Orson Van Halen.
No, it is. I was thinking about that the other day because I was like trying to pull some pictures of him for when we do talk about him in the next couple of weeks. Obviously, as we get closer to Book of Boba, we're going to be talking about him a lot more, and he's going to be doing interviews and stuff. So I was like, oh, we're going to need some images for featured images and stuff for videos. So I started like pulling that stuff, and that guitar video is like everywhere, and that GIF is like everywhere. And it's just funny to me when you just see like these like couple of seconds that they keep using in various things, it starts to take on way more prominence and importance. So if that's your only impression, that dude just playing guitar all day. He's fucking playing Stairway to Heaven while Baby Yoda is like, did I hit my mark? And it's
Right.
Yeah, it makes me laugh. But anyways, yeah, so I think I've talked about it.
I didn't think Jabba's palace was very cinematic to begin with, folks, and I've said that before on the show before I've seen this.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But this pattern right here was everywhere on when I did go down and check out the sets for Book of Boba a couple times. These patterns were on the tops of the buildings and everything like that. And this is clearly where the squid head dude is, or whatever. Was he a squid head? You know, that guy from he was in the trailer.
Right.
And he might be
it's someone's head in a shot, guys. It's just how it's out of focus,
But yeah, but
we can kind of see through it. I'm like, yeah, that's what happens when you have you're up in the lens. Get a camera if you don't understand how lenses work.
Right. And then I'm gonna throw it out there, and I could be wrong, but that other promo image that we saw, like the cover of the magazine and stuff, I think this is Tamara Morrison, and the other one's not. Doesn't he look different? It looks like a little more stout to me.
Looks about the same.
Looks the same to you. It looks more like stocky to me. But
you can see the legs on this one. Couldn't see the legs on the other one.
Mm-hmm. I was like,
look, that's the thing where like in art, one of the reasons why you don't like rotoscoping is considered, tenuous is because things don't always look the way people expect things to look the way they expect them to look, not how they are. I know it sounds weird. Like they have an expectation in the way things look. So yeah, I mean, he may have lost weight toward the course of the series, and that's a more recent shot. I mean, or it was some dude just standing in there. And I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. I mean, half of the Mando wasn't Pedro Pascal, right? So.
Yeah, I don't care at all. I'm just like
he's not a big tall guy. Boba's always been a short dude. Like,
is he short or is he stocky? That's what I'm not sure.
Well, he was shorter when he was younger. Now that he's got dad weight, he's stocky.
Right.
I like the way they drew him in the Visions episode where he's like the little dude, the rock arbor one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm like, that's how he actually is.
Yeah. 5'7". He's a little. That's Kurt Cobain height. I think
he's a little taller than Michael Keaton.
That is. Look, and then I accidentally left the image like this. So he looks like he's even tinier now.
But
he looks like,
with the antenna, he's 6'2".
We need to get Jesse a little viewfinder so when we cut off his head when he's on the bottom row, and he's like looking over like that, we could know it's him.
Just off camera right there is Dennis Lawson. He just missed it.
Just missed it. But yeah, anyways, pretty nice. Just to, I didn't think we would be seeing an image today though, so I'm gonna throw that out there. That's nice. You know,
Would have been. I mean, that's at least something they could have thrown out during Disney Disclosure Day.
Disney Disclosure Day.
Like every other Disclosure Day letdown, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't enough. I didn't really think about it. We're getting more than we used to. Already got a thumbs down. They must not have liked my milk and cookies joke.
Oh, there are fun things. Some people are just fun. So this is the Ahsoka article that went up. It's really just a tease, if you will.
They're committed to not lining up that text with those images. Huh? It was built into the web WordPress, I guess. Huh?
Maybe it's just the way that my browser shows it. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's possible.
Over the course of several years, Ahsoka Tano has become one of the Star Wars' most beloved characters, despite having only really existed in animated form. Through the Clone Wars and Rebels series, she grew up as Anakin Skywalker's Jedi Padawan and grew in complexity with every passing season.
Hold on now. She existed in pillow form for quite a while.
Oh shit, Dave Filoni. That is your new name.
Dave Filoni. I'm Dave Filoni. So we got a pillow and a mouse pad. I guarantee it.
I just vibe with some tentacle ladies. And then finally, in the second season of Mandalorian, Ahsoka finally made the leap to live action. The first, at this time, played by Rosario Dawson in an episode written and directed by her co-creator Dave Filoni, proving a massive hit on that show. It wasn't long before Lucasfilm announced the character's own spin-off series and a show taking place in the wider Mando storyline. Man, you know, it's gonna be pretty fun when people start pulling clips from the Ahsoka series and taking the audio from the Clerks movie and having Ahsoka say the things that she says in the Clerks movie. Sorry, I'm looking forward to it.
You think there's a chance? Speculation. Think there's a chance by the end of the series, Mando needs Boba's army, you know, to help fight the other Mandos or something? Like,
yeah, it could be. I mean, I think we might see. But my speculation is that we're going to see Din being what the Mandalorians have needed for generations or years, anyways. And so he's going to be the guy who's able to get Bo-Katan behind him and Boba Fett. Like he's in from the underworld and he has like that kind of respect and knows how that works and knows how those people are and what their code is, but also like lives staunchly by that code that was put into him by the cultist that will allow him, I think, to be predictable in a way that where they all trust him. That's kind of what I think may end up happening because in my opinion, we're going to see the Mandalorians defeat the Imperial remnant that's running wild, trying to steal green baby blood. And you know what I'm saying?
Just put them in a juicer.
Like, but
you get your little thing and just squeeze them out, get your midi-chlorians and powers.
Yeah. One of the effective things that Filoni's done for the post Return of the Jedi era is not made the Imperials seem like a bunch of little bitches. Heir to the Empire, I don't think really did the Empire very many favors. Like when I read that book as a kid, I felt like if the New Republic just knew where they were, they would come in and just crush them. And what he's laid out are that the people that are still around are like really insane, powerful mercenaries, and then we have those black robots, stormtrooper men's things. I don't know what you call them, death bots. You know, somebody when I was on Santa's show, I think I made somebody mad yesterday because there's those guys in the Jedi Temple that are like the enforcers of the Jedi Order. You know, like a Jedi goes crazy, they're the ones who would deal with it. And I called them Jedi police cops.
They are.
He's like they're not Jedi police cops. They're
really unfair to Mace Windu.
You know, I mean, I
Always
don't.
fucking with
I
him, dude.
but I'm gonna break into that person's house at gunpoint, kidnap them, take them to my house, make them watch Police Academy, and then let them go. And
I
we'll.
felt threatened by his staring. You shot him? Like you could deflect it. It doesn't matter.
So speaking to Empire, Filoni opened up about the progress of the show, which he's currently writing. See, like that's right there is currently writing it.
Yeah, they don't start actual production until March, right?
Yeah, but
So
I'm emphasizing this to emphasize Rangers of the New Republic not being in active development.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
No one will listen to me. No one will listen to me about that. It's driving me crazy. But it's thrilling, I gotta tell you. Filoni, of the scripting process. It's something you imagine doing for a long time, and then it's kind of startling when you're sitting there and now you have to do it. As you'd imagine, the show is offering him the chance to tell an Ahsoka story he's always wanted to tell, with some new additions. I thought of this adventure for Ahsoka for a long time, and it's interesting to see how it's evolved, he says. Years ago, I never would have imagined it was sprung from a branch of a tree that had anything to do with a guy like Din Djarin or a child like that looks like Yoda. It's a great lesson.
Even I can't remember his name.
Yeah. What's his name? His name is like Soda Dude. Soda Dude, or
should have called him Frankie.
Little Frankie.
Little Frankie.
It's a great lesson for me on how when you have other creatives like Jon Favreau, they can help lend such dimensions and depth to what you're doing. So, and then it's this. This is from that issue.
He can spell check and everything. I didn't know.
Look! We can't see his legs, so he looks like so tall.
It's because his dick is being covered up by the Book of Boba.
Oh, right. That makes sense. I mean, maybe he didn't. Maybe he accidentally when they were taking all these pictures, right? And on this one, his zipper was down and his little wing was hanging out. And then, but this was the best one.
It's way further than you need to.
They didn't know what to do.
And then he farts out the opening crawl. See, it goes in one end and it comes out the other.
It was the best picture, though. It was the best picture. And they're like, well, we can Photoshop that out. And they're like, no, that isn't authentic. That isn't how we do this at Empire.
It doesn't have the verisimilitude.
But yeah. But anyways,
I was at Mitsuwa and I was just thinking, what could I do? I don't know. Then I just saw this little origami tree and I was like, it has many branches. That's the story.
Yep.
And so there you go.
It was an interesting choice of words that he says there as well, because he originally ended the Clone Wars with this little tree metaphor with this forest tree out at the like a giant bonsai tree almost, and the Jedi Order, and each of them
Yoda blew up.
Well, it has like the like 3 leaves for Luke, Leia, and Anakin. And so it kind of makes me wonder if him saying that in some way ties into that, or if it's just that dude's metaphoric style. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Because we have Anakin coming into that series, into the Ahsoka show. We have all the Rebels characters, and we have Anakin. And Anakin's a ghost.
We have his eye, right? Like
yeah. But I'm gonna guess that they're gonna do a flashback in that one. But my theory is Obi-Wan Kenobi doesn't have the Clone Wars flashback, so they're gonna put it into Ahsoka, and then they're gonna let everybody know.
It's gonna keep moving this to the next show.
No, I think just getting to it. I just don't. I think that they're so secretive about Obi-Wan Kenobi that now everyone has 4 or 5 different shows in their mind for what it's going to be, and it's only going to be one of them.
It's 4 hours, guys. It's not.
Yeah.
But look what you can do end of Infinity game.
Yeah.
Chill.
Yeah. So it is going to end up being kind of it's going to have a weird vibe when it comes out, I think. If it's super good, then everyone will definitely just look past it and just be like, okay, I'm happy with what I got. And
Ewan walks out to the twin suns in the series, looks at it, and just goes, "I fucking hate this planet." Like,
and he says,
yeah,
Ben Skywalker, and then he walks away. The end.
yeah. Been there, done that.
Or yeah, he goes there, and then I think he's going to meet the old lady from who meets
She's
Rey.
the one hooking him up. The one with
Yeah.
the one with the berries that they keep giving in episode 1, still alive. Yeah.
Oh wait, talking about Jira?
Yeah,
Old
she's
Jira
the
with air
local.
conditioner?
She's a local hot. You know, he gets lonely out in the desert.
Somebody also reminded me about this the other day. Illuma Nerdy,
Like sticky fat, like he sticks to walls.
Illuma Nerdy, like a year ago, posted some of the casting stuff for Kenobi.
Oh, that's
And
right.
the first one was for Riley, aka Eve. I'm guessing that they must have put out two different calls with the same thing with two different names, maybe Riley and Eve. Female 20 to 25, co-lead. A female person of color whose character's details are being kept under wraps. That's all it says. And then Tia. Remember we had Tia last week? That story about Tia? About Indira Varma, I think is her name. And well, here's Tia, female, 30s, supporting. And so that right there,
Backstabbing traitor. What?
well,
That's what it says.
But what I'm going to throw out here though is if we have Riley, aka Eve, we could right here we could have two code names, and then there's other names too that sound like code names to some degree. So Tia could be her code name. There's a chance that what made it to the Internet Movie Database listing is legit and it's a code. It's still the placeholder code name. It could happen. But yeah, Tia, female supporting, and then Harold, male supporting, a quirky comedic male. And that's got to be
From the planet Ramus.
Well, but Harold, quirky comedic male, that's going to be Kitster. We hope. We hope Kitster grew up to be funny.
Or his name is just Harold, and we're like, well, that's it.
Yeah. And then it says
is it Harold, like Harold Ramis, or is it Harold like Hark, the Harold's Christmas song thing? You know, like Santa does.
It's just Harold. I think it's Harold Ramis.
Hark the Harold Ramis sings.
Yeah.
Egon.
And I have a hard time imagining that his name is Harold in the Star Wars song.
I would love it if it was though.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Harold.
Yeah. Is I will? We ran out of names. You know,
like, everybody has names like I'm Quirk Kickbuster. Hi, I'm
that
Harold.
Has to be our official mascot.
Quirk Kickbuster.
Quirk Kickbuster. I like it.
And Harold.
He's only got like one Twi'lek tentacle.
Yeah.
And he wears it off to the side like an 80s ponytail.
Right. Like
yeah.
Like Napoleon Dynamite's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Bella and female 40s supporting Latinx.
He wears his Jedi robes around his waist.
Do we say that Latinx or Latinx? I have no idea.
It's supposed to be Latinx, but it's
Latinx.
A lot of people in the community don't like the term. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's what they said.
I know, it's casting.
That's what the casting said. I mean, it's better than when they used to go, "Hey, give us one of those colored girls, one who could do the hula dance." They used to write some derogatory ass shit.
I know. Someone did a podcast on that once. I can't remember who it was, but they went through like Hollywood like casting stuff, and they were just like, "Look at what they're looking for." And it was like, it didn't say like the W back term, right? But it was like one of those. It was pretty close. Like it was like, damn, that's 1984. You know?
Yeah. Oh, dude. Like I've seen some of those call books from the probably like the late 90s, and not much had changed then either. But I think with the advent of the internet, they were like, oh, we better really clean it up because people will.
It was one of those like from the 90s. It was one of those like Party of Five, but it was like not that show, but one of those things. It was like Hot Nubile or something. I'm like, really? Like,
all right, yeah,
like, okay, like, really? Like, what does that have to do with their acting prowess? But all right.
Harvey Weinstein is writing it up, you know.
Poor actors got to deal with that shit.
Yeah. So, anyways, it looks like it's a kind of a slower Star Wars news day.
I think everyone just wants to complain about Boba Fett Day. Like everyone, I've started something.
Well, you know, it's there is a difference between complaining and being critical, and appropriately critical. Like Bob A. Fett. That's funny.
It's fat.
And then Star Wars in Game says, will Boba have a stake in the Mandalorian dilemma? Is he Mandalorian or just wearing armor?
That was the question I posed about the end of the series. Is that something where he has to like, you know, am I going to be a criminal or am I going to be a Mando? My binary code says I'm a Bando.
Yeah.
My crypto code.
My chain code. Just like, you know, like, bro, like just break your chain codes, man. You know what I mean? Just break free of the chain codes, bro.
This is my off the chain code.
I would not be surprised if, as we see Boba Fett's sort of life as a character kind of congeal into one larger narrative, my guess is that we're going to see him where he was on a mission, on a quest, and that quest is against the backdrop of upheaval. Like the idea of Boba going in and fixing Mandalore, that's nonsense. Like that's not realistic. It would be like Rob going and bringing back Suncoast. It's not gonna happen.
You laugh, you know, but then my NFTs sell and I got enough money. And you sold NFTs? No, yeah. Shut up. But I use that imaginary funds to only sell 90s tapes, right? Like only 90s tapes. No new movies. Like,
but as he grows in power, and then Mandalore comes in and asks for help in whichever way or whichever form the narrative decides to let that happen, I think that's when now he actually has a moral responsibility to live up to his father's sort of indoctrination of him. And we do see that he shows off the chain code on the armor. He says, look, that's mine. That's my father. I'm a Mandalorian. Like in all of that stuff right there, that is him saying that I think he would care.
Griffin Campbell's got a great comment.
How's it going, Griffin? Lucasfilm marketing consists of like one person sitting in a dark room, right?
They made a game about it. You're in a you need to change you're in a dark room to you're in a Lucasfilm marketing room.
Yeah. No, I mean I honestly think that it in a weird way it has classically consisted of Lucasfilm handling the let's get everything ready, like let's get the packet ready almost, if you will. And then they would hand that over to Disney.
Let's be honest. Drew Struzan did a lot of heavy lifting. Yeah. Let's just be once you remove that poster illustration from the equation, you're left with the 1994 VHS box art.
Well, look at the marketing for Lucasfilm and the PR department from the George Lucas era. They were answering to the whims of a lunatic billionaire. Who I love.
Yeah, I take that. Sure.
Yeah. And whatever he said, he was God, and that was your job. and there you go. Like, makes sense.
It looks like your Wi-Fi name.
Ooh, you got in trouble. It looks like your Wi-Fi. Wait, wifey? Your wifey is?
I cut it off. It's stupid.
She's in random shit. She's in the dog in the dog husk. Anyways, anyways, I make myself.
What is
laugh.
with you and dogs today? The dog husk.
From
Jesus.
Ghostbusters. I saw Ghostbusters a couple of days
Oh
ago.
yeah, I could tell, man.
The whole ending is just a remake of the other movie, and now I can't stop thinking about dogs.
You're just letting Red Letter ruin everything for you.
No,
You
I'm
liked
not.
it just fine till you watched that. Now they're bringing it down.
No, you could see my tweet was exactly that. Was I like the movie until it gets caught up in its sentimentality, and the sentimentality worked on the first viewing for me, but I am suspicious about how I will feel about it after a year, after several rewatches. You know what I mean? Because they're like when you watch
they got your money by then, Wards. What do they care?
Yeah. No,
it's like saying I'm suspicious about how I'm going to feel about Dark Souls 3 a year after it comes out. Well, they already got your money. They don't care. They learned their lesson. You'll buy it. That's what.
No,
that's what
and if they are able to make this into a series of Ghostbusters movies and they're good and they're fun, then I think it's worth it. Like
in my perfect world, it'd be a Ghostbusters series, and they'd bring J. Michael Straczynski to write. You know, I mean, he wrote the first season of the real Ghostbusters, and I think if you gave him a live action series, he'd write some compelling paranormal mystery adventures. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It is weird that because the first 2/3 of that movie are a Jason Reitman movie, like they do feel like it, and it feels like it should have been a TV series. And then when you get to the very end of the movie, like the very last part,
the Tom Rothman comes right in there and just boosh.
Yeah, it's
the one thing. Fan.
The one thing I did like though, and this the one callback I did appreciate the most, that is actually probably the most creative, is when the mom gets possessed. She is wearing a dress like Sigourney Weaver wears all of a sudden, not Sigourney Weaver's dress, but one like it. So whenever Gozer or whatever comes back, they just kind of get really fan. Oh, the Keymaster, the Gatekeeper comes back, just kind of gets that fancy dress going. I appreciated that moment of it, but yeah. But I mean, I've seen the movie twice now, and I do like the movie, but Stranger Things is the Harrison Ford and Return of the Jedi of that movie though. He's Winston.
12 hours of
he's Winston
each season to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just we can do this all day long. You know, will a Star Wars single film be able to compare to 4 to 8 episodes of a Star Wars series in terms of story? Probably not, which is why they're going to have to start doing TV series that meld into a movie, but you don't technically need to see everything to understand the movie. It's a complicated thing. And they've done this to themselves. You know,
like in Star Wars though, Rey is, you meet Rey, she's hot as fuck and on a hot as fuck planet, so it's just hot everywhere. But she really doesn't have anywhere to go. She kind of just is oh, I got to go through these motions and get to day 3 when it's all over. I think the interesting thing about the Ghostbusters character is they made her a little girl, and the little girl, they really kind of made androgynous to be Egon's offspring or whatever. But in real life, she's a pretty girl, and I think that they're going to turn her. I think they're going to have her become, if they get to see the vision through, more like Peter Venkman as time goes on. I think they're going to have her so that she becomes actually a good character. You know what I mean? Who actually changes, because as it goes through, she's sort of like a huge nerd who can't talk to anybody. By the end of it, she at least has a friend.
My hope is that it goes Goonies, Breakfast Club, Lost Boys. You understand? If you could chart their ages, because they're going to age in between the films. Yeah. There's nothing you can do about that. So you didn't shoot them all at once. So that's where you go with the tone.
Yeah. Because all Stranger Things does is get a job and fix the car. That's all he does in the whole movie. It's why is he even there? It's really, really weird. It's he drives the car. He's of age to drive the car. So I guess that's something. But yeah, it's weird. But I think that Star Wars and Ghostbusters both show The Force Awakens and Ghostbusters Afterlife show exactly what works and what doesn't work when you're just swimming in nostalgia, when you're just doing callbacks and throwbacks pretty consistently. And I'm not somebody who thinks that like the Red Letter Media guys, they are pretty against it in general. I think
while they endlessly call back to vague Star Wars references and do 3-hour dissertations on House 2, the second story. Sure they are. Sure, their whole channel is a giant callback and nostalgia. Like, I love them, but it's so funny, man. They see what the studios, but they go, but I don't.
But you know what? I agree with where I think that they're coming from to some extent. Like with horror, you know how we were talking about how like I like Critters to exist as Critters, or Nightmare on Elm Street to exist as Nightmare on Elm Street, and it's like it exists on its own and it takes itself seriously, but it happens to be bad. Like Critters or whatever happens to have like these bad elements, these really B grade qualities, but it's trying. Like Night of the Comet is technically a bad movie, but I think
can't
it's great.
Say Afterlife isn't trying. They're trying.
No.
Show up, wake over, and roll out a script.
No, but I'm talking about but then Scream comes along, and then Scream thinks it's smarter than the genre.
Why do you hate that movie so much? It's made by the guy who helped invent the genre. That's not the same thing.
He got bored. He got over it. And then he decided to make us.
It's a good movie. Sorry.
Yeah, but
we're diametrically opposed to this.
No, but that's why Stranger Things exists today, because all of a sudden that sort of like
Stranger Things exists because they couldn't make it. They got fired off that job or walked out or whatever. They couldn't agree with the studio on the budget. Then they went and did their own version.
Nobody said they couldn't make it. We'll take Stranger Things. Nobody.
They didn't want it with the kids. That's what it was. They didn't want it with the kids.
I'm talking about with audiences. Audiences missed having that sort of really lame horror kind of like thing that takes itself seriously in its own universe and isn't necessarily like laughing at itself, but it like Critters is one of those. Night of the Comet. They're movies that intended to exist on their own. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to make their own.
Critters doesn't exist on its own. Critters exists in the vacuum of Gremlins. That's it. It thrives on your knowing of the Gremlins movie to understand what that is.
No, it doesn't. You don't.
Yes, it does. It was only made because of it. Let's make a B movie budget R-rated Gremlins. That's all it is, man. And that's fine. But stop acting like they're not living in that nostalgia. That didn't live in the shadow. That's like saying The Last Starfighter has nothing to do with Star Wars. That's ridiculous.
No, you're talking about business. I'm talking about the actual written story, the actual text that is happening on screen. Not talking about business. You have to be able to separate
the goalposts here, my friend.
No, I'm not. I'm not at all. Is that it? In like when the guy sat down to write fucking Critters, and he has bounty hunters going after space aliens from a different dimension. Or a different galaxy.
But they made a Ghostbusters movie in which it had nothing to do with the original, and it angered a third of the internet. So they did that. They did that. They did a story that had nothing to do with the original Ghostbusters, just called it Ghostbusters. It stood on its own, and people generally rejected it. So then they made...
We're not talking about the same thing now. I'm talking about Red Letter Media and nostalgia. And what they are saying is Red Letter Media wants the stories to simply write themselves and exist in their movie as their own story, doing what that story needs, like Night of the Comet. You could say it's a throwback to 1950s sort of B-grade cinema and all that kind of stuff. Sure, you can. But within the universe itself, the characters, the actors, the writing, it believes in itself, even though it's bad, but it makes it immersive and good. Stranger Things does this well. And that's what the 80s VHS movies, horror movies did really, really well. But after we had a generation who went and we're simply renting those constantly. You have the Scream thing come about where everybody's like, oh, I read Joseph Campbell, I know the hero's journey. And then
That's not what Scream was about.
No, it's not what Scream was about. Scream is about people who think that they are smarter than the genre in which they want to consume the media of. That's what I think it's about.
So they murder people over. They're the bad guys.
Yeah, because people are still immature man babies who want to just see titties.
Yeah, so it's a great movie because it's accurate. I see what you're doing. I just don't agree with. Look, they can say that they existed in that vacuum. They existed in the vacuum because they weren't remaking Mario Bava films from the 60s and the 80s. They were just making up schlocky knockoffs of the more popular movies. It's like when you used to go to Hollywood Video and see Pirates of the Sand Caribbean and it's hot chicks dressed up like pirates. Those are all knockoff films. Critters is a knockoff film, bro. It exists in its own little thing. You didn't need to see Gremlins to exist, but it only exists because of that thing. Now, in 20 years from now, 20 years from now, when they make more Sopranos, and if any of the Sopranos actors are alive, they're gonna bring him in, because if they don't, they end up in a situation where people go, "Why didn't they bring him in?" And that's all anyone ever talks about. Why didn't they put Carrie and Luke and Han? Why didn't even Red Letter Media complain about not putting those three together? So like, you can endlessly spin around. The question is, did you spend your money? Did you have a good time? Yes. Does everything you ever buy need to stand up in the Richard Moulton, or whatever his name is, the Moulton top 100 Hollywood Hall of Fame of all time? No. And does Red Letter Media tend to say one thing and while simultaneously doing the other? They do Star Trek skits. They do Star Trek, which, funny enough, end up in Star Trek, the red shirt fucking show. What is that one with the cartoon? Did you see that one? They did a Star Trek skit like a year or two ago, I don't know, a while back, where they talked about using the hull of the ship to actually, and then they actually put it in the cartoon. But what I'm saying is, like, their whole show thrives on your knowledge of prior. So they don't go and explain to you what a new movie is. They talk to you as if you've already seen the movie 1,000 times.
Yeah, but when you watch Ghostbusters, the first 2/3 of the movie are an original thing that you haven't seen before, and then at the end of it, it just does go into remaking the end of the first Ghostbusters movie. And they also,
I think they can take a lot more chances with the writing.
Pull a shot from.
That's an indictment of the fact that the current Hollywood system doesn't want to take a lot of chances. And every time they do, like, say Ghostbusters 2016, which I didn't like, okay, and it had to do nothing with, I just don't care for the humor, right? I like the actors, don't care for the humor, but it's not my movie. But they did that, and it made some money, but it pissed off a lot of people. So what are you supposed to do? You know, they got a license, they don't want to sit on it. You know, if they made something just like Ghostbusters, like, remember when they made Evolution? Then people just go, it's just the wannabe Ghostbusters. Well, Evolution's on its own. It was made by the guy who made Ghostbusters, and everyone just complained it was just alien Ghostbusters. Mm-hmm. You know, so I don't like, you're in, you know.
No, what the point I am trying to make, though, is that when a movie, no matter what spawned it, whatever, if it was Critters or whatever it happens to be, whatever spawned it is what made it go into production. But when you're watching the movie, like, Critters believes in itself.
As for remaking whole endings to films, bro, no offense to The Last Jedi, but that's the entire ending to Escape from Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. So, like, at some point, you know what I mean? Like, it's it's different. Did you have a good time? Yes. Was it completely pretty much a shot-for-shot remake of a film made in the 90s no one cared for it? Yes. So, you know,
yeah,
like,
but it does well, like in the Ghostbusters scenario, it ends up where now you know that you have a movie that you're not going to care about for very long.
I don't know about it. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know. A lot of people still feel Force Awakens is the best of the three. So
yeah, I mean, people will, whichever one was the last one that they had a good time at, they will generally go with. But it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be that way. Is the frustrating part.
That's true. That's true.
is
That's absolutely true.
like like in Ghostbusters, like proton packs and stuff like that are what make me excited. And like the fact that they're like catching ghosts and doing all that kind of stuff, and that stuff was like all fun. And then but then like when they put like the chocolate bar in Spangler's costume, you're like, okay, I guess. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
it kind of
I'm not defending any of that.
yeah.
I'm just saying that I just don't think Red Letter Media, every time they complain about something, Hollywood seems to listen, and then they complain that they ever complained about it.
Yeah.
So like, be careful what you wish for. You might just get it, you know?
Jason says Herrick had based the screenplay on a nightmare he experienced as a child long before Gremlins was even conceived. And so like that's the kind of thing where you could definitely see that.
Why was Critters greenlit? Because of Gremlins. There. Done.
Yeah, but once again, that's the business side.
They could have greenlit it after Trilogy of Terror, but they didn't.
like I guess what I'm trying to say is like Night of the Comet. I don't really care why it was greenlit. Just that I know when I watch that shitty B grade movie, they believe in it. And
but it's a shitty B grade movie. It's not a big licensed thing. If they were making Night of the Twilight Zone, the movie, then you get a whole nother problem back in the 80s. And then nothing's ever changed about Hollywood. When they made Twilight Zone, the movie, which was just remakes of episodes everyone had already seen, you know what I mean? It's literally thriving off nostalgia. The only thing in Twilight Zone, the movie, that was new was the opening with Dan Aykroyd. That's it. So like, you know, and that got someone killed. That movie, so like, it's like I'm not laughing at the deaths. I'm just saying that like the idea of Hollywood thriving off nostalgia to sell you a brand you already know is not new and not exclusive to our time or the 90s or anything else. Like,
no, there's like a class. Thanks for becoming a member again, Jason. I appreciate it, man.
Did he quit?
Yeah, he quit. He got mad at you when he came back.
So I didn't like Rob's voices. I'm out of here.
What do you call it? Like Night of the Comet is a movie that I think is a solid premise. A girl is working in a movie theater. She goes down into the basement, gets locked in there, I think, falls asleep, isn't let out, and isn't able to get out until the morning. But a comet has come over the night, and anybody who was outside is destroyed, is killed, and turned into clothes. And anybody who only got a partial blast becomes like a murderous zombie. And then her and her sister like go through the barren wasteland of what was Los Angeles or something like that. And so like, what I'm trying to say is like that thing is like it's low budget, it's a good premise, it exists on its own, and I think it will probably be remade at some point. And if it were
made today, it would not be a movie, it would be a series. And there's one reason and one reason only: marketing. So this is an actual story I read yesterday where Cinemark and these theaters are trying to be more accepting of Netflix films coming straight into the theaters at the same time. The problem is Netflix and these companies don't want to spend marketing dollars pushing these films in front of everyone, because like, why would we spend $300 million to market something? We just put it on our channel. You know, like the HBO simultaneous release also has these big marketing campaigns. You're seeing the Matrix posters, you're seeing the posters for all these films, and they want the marketing budgets, because the theater's like, why would we put a movie in our theater that no one knows about? So really, the stranglehold on creativity really comes down to the theater, the distribution, and the fact that these rely on marketing campaigns that double, if not triple, your budget. Honestly, so.
Remember that article we were looking at the other day with the Queen movie made like $1 billion, but it wasn't profitable.
They said they lost 51 million, which is the exact money they owe the guy, by the way. Such a dick move. The reason why I see with Star Wars in game what you're saying, it's a bust, but it's kind of not, because it goes back to when we were talking the other day when I was like, why don't they just make a Star Wars movie for 70 million? Well, because they'd still have to spend another 70 million marketing that movie, if not another 150 million, because it's Star Wars. If they didn't overmarket a Star Wars film now, do you think people go, I'm not hearing anything about it, I don't understand where it's at? Oh, I haven't heard anything. They're not believing it. They don't believe in the movie. I shouldn't go see it. Like, now fans have an expectation that they don't see a giant Disneyland-like wall of ads for a movie when they walk into a theater or something. Then they're thinking the studio has no belief in it. Meanwhile, Stranger Things will just drop on a Thursday, and then the whole fucking internet runs to see it. All at once. And so, like, fans' expectations of what they consider to be legitimate is also a problem. You know, so
Yeah, we do have a culture that has these assumptions and expectations. Like we care about trailers, and we have a studio that will strike people's channels down for sharing their commercial. That's how fucking stupid we've become.
the marketing budget for films like Night of the Comet and Critters really could have been a nifty poster that
Yeah.
the video store would put on the door when you'd walk in, so you'd see it. You know what I mean? Oh, that thing right there. And we don't have that now. You know,
I just need like that kind of like I guess I dare to dream big on a small budget, and yeah, I don't have any money, but I take this shit seriously. You know what I mean?
that's Kevin Smith, my friend.
fine.
Like he's the one guy
Yeah.
who's able to do it because he's able to go out there and roadshow and podcast his own fan base into seeing his films, which I'm one of them. So even if I don't much like the film, I like, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of Tusk and stuff, but I'll go see it because I support Kevin and I know I'm going to see some weird shit, you know?
Yeah. That's
But
great.
that not every, we can't expect, you know, the Russian doll crew to have to go market their own film too. This reminds me of comic books have been dealing with this. When last time I was drawing comics, I remember the first time we sold a series to Image, they were like, and you also have to like market this. And I'm like, I thought you guys are distributing it. Wouldn't you market that? They're like, nah, you got to market this. And I'm like, so we pay ourselves and we market, but you keep the cut of everything. Huh.
Yeah.
that is an odd way to do business for me, not for them. So
Yeah. Craig says, I feel like Ghostbusters is such a cool property that should try to sever itself from the original cast. The gadgets, the busing ghost is a fun premise that can work a lot of different ways. And that was my take
they
on
did
the
that
whole
with
thing.
2016 though.
I don't know, man. Like 2016 tried to do the improvisational comedy against the structure
was
of the
bad.
original film. Yeah, and
Which was bad.
they weren't clicking, or it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And like that's the original Ghostbusters. If it didn't have Bill Murray, still probably would have been a movie that I loved. Like
In a way,
as are
the
trapping
real
ghosts.
Ghostbusters cartoon that Straczynski put together, the first season, didn't need to be Venkman, and they could have been very different. They don't look like the actors. They don't entirely act like the actors either. You know, they're sort of their own characters that fit an archetype. So that's why I said someone like Straczynski, you get a real writer in there to put together something that isn't a 1-to-1, you know, or a rehash, then I think you'll do well. But in the confines of a 2.5 hour film, or a 90-minute film, what are they going to do in a 90-minute film? The ghosts get out. We have to get the ghost, build the thing, capture the ghost. Like, it's
that's why I was
long-form
excited.
storytelling.
That's what I was excited for about this movie, was because I always felt like Ghostbusters, outside of being a comedy, if it was just a science fiction story or a horror science fiction story, whatever you want to call it, it would have been perfectly good and fine, and creative, and then you have Bill Murray who's just ad-libbing through it, and then it's great. It's so 1984. Like if we brought Bill Murray back from 1984 in a time machine today and put him in a movie today doing that, I still don't think it would work.
We'd get that. We'd get those great facial expressions, like
yeah. Yeah,
you know. And so I'd appreciate it, but I hear what you're saying.
no, I would do. I mean, I love Bill Murray. Don't get me wrong. Like, who doesn't love Bill Murray overall? He's fucking hilarious. But it's today to try and go and tell some Hollywood people be Bill Murray. It doesn't the Force doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? It doesn't work that way. It's not gonna.
His brother tried in Moving Violations. He got the closest anyone ever did.
And he pulled it off.
But it takes an actual family member that grew up with the dude.
Yeah.
that you know, like that's the one that got me as a kid. I was like, is this Bill Murray? Like,
Yeah.
Who is this? He has more hair.
Yeah.
And he's in Scrooged. So,
but you know, like when they were making,
can we get his brother for a Ghostbusters series? He can't be doing anything, right?
I don't know. I'm kind of surprised they didn't try it.
His older brother and his younger brother should show up in the sequel.
Yeah.
Venkman had to have family.
But like there was this period of Clone Wars that was driving me crazy where you'd have an original Star Wars story you had never seen before. Or it would be like a callback. And I'm okay with callbacks to other things. Let's mix Star Wars with Hitchcock.
Right.
What does that give us? Like let's take the end of
Escape from Los Angeles.
Escape from Los Angeles and put it in a Star Wars movie. Fine. Like
Right.
cool. But there was this like episode of like Clone Wars where every single fucking time it's like Anakin's puppet looks at the camera. This is where the fun begins. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
well, it's my complaint of Visions. When Vision says punch it, you know,
Yeah.
or punch it, or I got a bad feeling about this, and like 3 times in every episode, you're just like, all right, guys, like, you know,
yeah.
yeah,
That kind of and you know, even, and not to say that's not valid, even that one's an action that people might just say in Star Wars, and I could just accept that as being, but when it's like a specific line, you know what I mean? That like that kind of like straight up callback, you know, I have you now. Remember when Darth Vader said that? And like, but it's like I want them to create new lines for Star Wars that make me that I want a new I have you now. And those things though you can't manufacture. You write a good line and a good scene and a good moment, and then it clicks, and then people go call back to it on their own, and then it becomes organically.
this is the way.
Yeah, this is the way. I mean, that is good. That's good branding. I'm sure they were hoping for a new May the Force be with you, but 40 years of Star Wars, and we have May the Force be with you, and this is the way.
It's hard, bro.
It's hard. It's almost impossible.
Hard.
Yeah. That's why I don't think you should try for it. I think you should just let it happen. You know what I mean? And but I think that if they continue on with these Ghostbusters movies and they continue with that with
Star Wars
with that cast,
keep it on topic. Right.
No, I think that the big I think in a weird hilarious way, Jason Reitman's gone and taken a kid, aka 8-year-old Anakin Skywalker, a little bit older, so it's a little bit smarter than Phantom Menace in that way. So the audience buys into it more. But she's an androgynous looking. I don't know how old she is. She might be 12. I'm not sure.
Is Annie Potts androgynous?
In the movie a little bit. In the movie a little bit. But she's kind of meant to be like she's not feminine. She's not masculine. She's just a little Egon. You know what I'm saying? But they made the little Egon the main character, which is also a peculiar fucking choice. And that's why I don't think it's going to stick. I think she's going to start off with Egon's brains, and then I think we're going to see her become, like I said.
Yeah, I mean, the more you get to know them, the more they fill out their own character and their own storylines and stuff. That's the whole point. That was the hope of the sequel trilogy. Kind of didn't do it. So
yeah.
So kind of stuck in those templates at the end of the movie where they were at the beginning of the movie. Didn't really go anywhere. So my hope is they learn. I don't know, man. Like Tom Rothman's a CEO of a studio that I'm very conflicted about. He ran Fox into the ground poorly. So don't have a lot of hope for Sony, you know.
So you're not doing a good enough job. He just updated the payment, that was all. And you didn't offend him enough that he canceled and then came back.
He's like, I finally listened to the Duel of the Fates thing you did. I fucking hate Rob. Where's Randy? I'm going here. He's thinking, Randy.
Rob is like in Bewitched.
The show shouldn't have to rely on past shows to be good now. It's its own show now. You know what? I agree with everything Jason said. Take back the argument. Let's start the show over. Delete this episode. Let's redo it.
I can't reboot. It's Ghostbusters.
What? We can reboot the show.
2016, I wanted to succeed because it purposely went against the fan expectations, trying to prove something. It felt big time. I loved those actors and felt it could have been awesome. Yeah, my problem with it, just even its existence now. I went and saw it. I bought it. I didn't buy it for any political choice. I was just like, you know what? I want to see it again to see how do I feel about this movie. I don't know. and like it was just that it like the tech looked bad, the car looked bad,
the art direction was horrible.
Direction was bad.
Bad.
The comedy wasn't really connecting, and it's like, and then
they were making they were making Exorcist jokes.
Yeah,
the original Ghostbusters didn't make Exorcist jokes. That's the gripe. I'm like, if you're gonna come up with humor, you got to make humor within the context of your own time period. You can make a Paranormal Activity joke or maybe a Saw joke or something, but The Ring, right? But you're making jokes about movies that existed before the original Ghostbusters. It doesn't, it's odd.
Yeah, that's where why didn't they just franchise it? Like, I don't understand on that one. Why didn't they just make it where ghosts are a thing in this area? You know what? Let's join the Ghostbusters franchise.
Yeah, it would have been another starting up a business. Instead of starting a business, start up a franchise, right? Like, what happens if we franchise it out and these people got it and they're even way horrible. And then maybe one's got to come in and give them the Miyagi or the Mickey thing, right? Aykroyd comes in and goes, look, here's how you fucking run your shit, and then they fucking show him how to do it, like, so there's some way, to do that there. This comment I like because I don't agree with it. Michael Arndt talked about having a difficult time writing episode 7 with Luke in the film. It's the hardest thing to do, to have new characters not get overshadowed by nostalgia. I feel Vision solved this problem with the Ninth Jedi. The guy in the mask that who doesn't open his mask till the very end, right? Or he's in the battle droid and he pops out and he's got that. Luke could have been a new Jedi that hid his face in a mask and at the very end reveals the whole time it's been Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Like that he could have created a different Jedi because being Luke Skywalker creates too many fucking problems in this universe. Like the Ninth Jedi is such a great setup that I'm like, that should have been the basis for these new films. I love everything about the Ninth Jedi.
Well, and that's what Ghostbusters also had to deal with, was having Bill Murray show up at the end, and that last part he shows up, and then everybody was excited. They do what they do, and then they get knocked down, and then the new heroes have to deal with it. And it's like, I was like, this is interesting because they're doing what everybody wanted from The Force Awakens. They wanted Han, Luke, and Leia to show up at the very end and save the day. So they're doing it, but then they have to get knocked down still so that the new heroes can do it. And then so I'm looking at my watch going, it's only about 6 days until people start going, oh, then they made the original Ghostbusters are just totally inept and don't know how to carry a proton pack on the back anymore because of this little girl. Like that's where it's going to end up going. And so what's the lesson for Star Wars and Ghostbusters? It's that you can cash in on that for a time, but in the big picture, it's probably bad for your picture. You know what I mean? And it probably doesn't actually help the health of your franchise.
I do want to read that Arndt script, though.
Oh, I do too. I do too. Yeah. And one thing about the Arndt stuff is, we knew that he wrote a 50-page outline for all three of them, and I'm not sure if he actually wrote a script. I'm not. I've heard treatment. Yeah, just that one treatment of the trilogy, and with the emphasis on the first one being, structurally in there, and I don't know. I'm not sure if he actually ever got anything because he was a slow writer, and so I'm not sure how far if he even finished a script. If for episode 7 before they were like, you know what, dude, Aggie needs this money, baby. We're
classic JJ fashion. He just threw it all out. I'll do it from scratch.
Yeah, and it is one of those things where it's probably oftentimes easier to take a puzzle and not start putting somebody else's puzzle together, just to take it all apart and start it back on your own.
Man. Wrath of Khan got done because they merged 2 or 3 scripts together. I think it's easier to start with something, go what worked, what didn't work, than it is to conjure up from scratch. I just think JJ has those We got those IP points. He wants that writer's credit, bro. He wants
he did that. He did that on 7 and 9. I don't think it would be fair to take that from him. He did that on 7 and 9, which is why you'll see he's not the only credited writer on both of those movies.
Sure, he tried though.
Probably.
He's like, I took him out to Roos Chris and they didn't listen.
Yeah, I gave him a steak. I gave him a stick with some mushrooms, and I said, "Hey, this is my idea to get you." And he's like, Michael Arndt's like, "I always get steak and mushrooms.
I put sandworms in it. It's a sand snake though. It's totally my own thing."
Yeah. So what? Are you Frank Herbert now? Are you Frank Herbert now, Michael Arndt? I Lost is nothing without
Michael Arndt writing the script anymore, huh?
Me, Lost is found, bitch. Oh
Yeah.
shit. Oh shit.
Welcome to the Little Miss Sunshine State, bitch.
Oh, yeah. I like that one.
And then Art sends Paul Dano to JJ's house to solve problems.
The original Michael Arndt script probably had like Poe Dameron going, "I just want to fly, but I'm colorblind, and they won't let me."
Oh no. I need these IP points to start my church.
Yeah, it is kind of a weird bummer that we never got a Michael Arndt Star Wars movie. You know what I mean? Like I wonder if they burned their bridge with them, or if he was like, "Well, that was my dabble in that."
We didn't pick them.
Yeah,
In my experience, man, dealing with major studios, it has nothing to do with the quality of talent. It comes down to, well, we didn't pick him. So
yeah,
it's not our guy.
Yeah.
That's how I've experienced this. So if I had to put money on the fan roulette table, bam, I'm putting it on. It wasn't their pick. It was Lucas's guy.
No, it was Kathy's guy. It was George goes to Kathy. Everybody hates Red Tails. Everybody hates me. Everybody wants to beat me up. I don't want to.
I hate me.
Yeah.
Okay.
She comes in. She comes aboard, and then I believe she was the one who recommended Arndt for the gig.
Oh.
But what? And then they sold to Disney.
Canceling her own writers is what she does. So.
Yeah, but Lucas, yeah, no, but Lucas would have if he could have, depending on the financial situation of Lucasfilm, he would have let them take the amount of time that they needed to get it done and to get it written and right. Whereas Disney is like, no, we want this in 2015. May of 2015 was what they wanted. They got December of 2015.
Yeah,
so
because of the injury.
Yeah, they say that, but when you look at how much rewriting happened on that thing, it needed it. You know what I mean? It needed it. And but also,
Harrison, can you just put your arm in that?
Well, what's funny was on that one, I think they ended up kind of lucky in the sense that like the raid guys were supposed to come back for the Maz Kanata fight. They were supposed to be the ones who brought the First Order to Maz Kanata's place, and there was going to be a big fight with the pirates and with those pirates and Maz's pirates, a big, huge battle. And then they couldn't get those guys back because they were making, I don't know, the Raid 5 or something probably. You know, they all had a scheduling conflict. So like you have that whole Conja Club like opening section, and you're like in a way, like, why is this here? But then in the end, it's fun.
My biggest gripe with the Force Awakens was the raid guys just don't do anything.
Yeah, then they were supposed to, but nothing could have been done about that. I mean, all they could have done was throw the raid guys out and got generic people to be the raid guys now.
Hey, Lucas got rid of 98 Degrees. If you're not gonna have him sing and dance, what's the point?
NC, it was NC. Sorry, come on.
What's the difference?
I don't.
Well, it was Lazy Town, right? Wasn't it?
Town.
What?
No, wait. Lazy Town's that
Crazy Town. Sorry, Lazy Town's with the puppets and the chick. Yeah. Sorry, may as well have been Lazy Town though.
So James says JJ was the one that threw out Arndt's treatment. I think Arndt would have had a problem. I would think Arndt would have a problem with him more than anyone. Yeah, I mean, Michael Arndt could write really, really well, And I'm going to throw it out there, though, that being able to write really, really well doesn't mean that you write blockbusters really, really well, necessarily.
Love Toy Story 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's definitely something where, like, we always, my go-to example is always Irvin Kershner. Great director.
I would say if you aren't familiar, Michael Arndt has a Vimeo channel that's actually really good, and he puts up writing videos on and stuff.
And he wears a little Fidel Castro hat in a lot of them, I think, if I remember right.
He covers some Wayne's World. I would check it out.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. Yeah, he does. Yeah. So check it out, my friend.
Yeah. No, I watched a lot of his videos and chats and stuff that he had done, and the guy is, I don't know if he teaches, but he's a fucking professor, when you get down to it. Like, his lectures are really
JJ
strong.
Maybe might want to watch a couple of those videos before he starts tankering with Superman.
You know what, JJ, go play with Superman all fucking day. Like, it's already broken. I don't care. Just go have a good time.
You say you can't make it worse, and then you see Quest for Peace. Gotta be careful what you wish for.
I will be straight up fucking honest. This isn't a troll. I like Superman Quest for Peace more than any Superman movie made after Quest for Peace.
It's ridiculous.
You know what? Like once again, that other one, the one that
where Superman takes humans into space and they don't explode.
Yeah, he's already flying. I don't give a fuck.
Takes Mariel Hemingway right into space. Okay. Yeah, all right, my friend.
No, that one that they made in I don't know, the early 2000s, 2007 maybe, where they brought back like the John Williams music.
Superman
and stuff.
Returns.
Yeah, Returns, yeah. Like I own that one. Got it.
Although I'll be honest, Superman Returns was how I felt coming back from the military and watching the girlfriend that I wanted to be with the rest of my life marry and have kids and shit. Like, so that hit me on a different level. I'm like, I know what that's like. Damn, Yeah. I didn't brood and stalked abroad like Superman. Right. Like, that is ridiculous. And he never ages, even though he was gone for 5 years. No one aged 10. Like, it was weird. It's a weird movie.
Should have taken her up to space though.
Weird movie.
Yeah,
taking her up to space.
that movie. Like, when you remove the John Williams song and those opening credits, I don't like the movie. I don't care about the movie at all for the most part. But that John Williams shit sure did trick me and let me have a good time. It really gave that movie some momentum it didn't earn when I saw it in the theater. And but that's what's so weird for me about Ghostbusters is I do like Ghostbusters. Like, I truly do like the new Ghostbusters movie. But it's it has its own momentum for like 2/3 of the movie, and then it's just like, I'm done. I'm done with it.
I like Ghostbusters 2.
Ghostbusters 2 is a good movie, and you are wrong. You are completely wrong.
Yeah, okay. He-Man. Like,
yeah, that's dark. That's dark.
Okay.
Yeah,
I stand corrected.
Somebody they were being nice, but they were like, of course there's Ghostbusters 2. There was Ghostbusters 2 callbacks in the movie, and people said there wasn't. And I was like, so I'm like, what was it? They like DM'd me, and they're like, Bill Murray talks to somebody to buy time when to confuse Gozer for a second. I was like, it doesn't count. And then they were like, the toaster's in there. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool, I guess. They put the toaster in there, but that doesn't really like where
that's
the
just so they
Oscar?
could sell toasters that jump at Walmart.
Yeah, but what happened to fucking where's Oscar? Did Oscar become?
I just don't know how nobody looked at Chris Hemsworth and didn't think that could have been Oscar.
Why
like
do
Chris
why are they afraid of Oscar?
It's so weird.
Like,
he looks like the bastard son of a German composer, a snooty German composer who doesn't respect Peter Venkman, you know what I mean? Has daddy issues and, loves his mom, but she's gone. Like that would have been Chris Hemsworth as the guy who doesn't believe in ghosts because he hates Peter Venkman for, that's Oscar like that. And he's got who names their kid Oscar in 1989? Like,
it was weird then. It was
weird then. Yeah. I mean, especially after the Oscar Mayer Wiener commercials. Anyone who grew up, my mom wanted to name me Leo after my biological father, but she grew up in the 60s and 70s and there was Leo the Lion. She don't want me to get made fun of that. No one fucking knows who Leo the Lion is.
You could have been a Leo.
But any kid who grew up In the Oscar Mayer Wiener card generation, would never have named their kid Oscar. It is ridiculous.
No,
Wouldn't
he
have
even
happened.
says that to him in the movie, which is probably an ad-lib line.
Yeah.
Probably was. But yeah. I was gonna say I think we're gonna call this one a show today because I have my kids home with me for the week, and we're gonna go do dad kid stuff for a little while, and I'm gonna go take them to their moms, I think, and then have a day off. It's gonna be great.
He's going to see Ghostbusters a third time, but he's really not certain about the film anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's not my thing.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean these movies are manipulative. They
All movies are manipulative. I know what you're saying, but fundamentally speaking, every film is manipulative. Like,
yeah,
Indiana Jones got people in the theaters because they remembered the serials when they were kids watching them on television. That is literally how 3 of my dad's friends went to go see it. Was because, oh, you know what this is? You know what this is? Like, yes,
or we weren't getting that. Like, that's how it worked for me. Was I wasn't getting that, and that's why I think that movie works for my daughter so well. My daughter loves the fucking movie. Like, that's one of the things about the Red Letter Media thing is that I think they made a hilarious, I think, astute point about parents taking their kids to see it because it's about them. But my daughter saw that, and all of that stuff worked for her in the same way it did for me when I was 4. And so I am happy I got 75% of a new movie.
I could not imagine, to end on this, I could not imagine. All my nephews and nieces are like hitting their 20s now, so they're grown up.
Yeah.
But I could never imagine being like, now read the Spawn comic. This is what impressed. We'll take them to the Spawn movie. This is, I could never force them to sit through the stuff that I loved as a kid. If they express interest, oh, you want to watch that? Sure, you know, but I could never imagine being, now they'll have the experience I had. Here's the Crow. You watch the Crow. I just, it's of its time.
It doesn't work that way either. Like with my kids, like my kids, I tried to show them Star Wars. They were just like, whatever. And then my son just started getting hooked on it. And now he's all about it. And same thing, my son, I try to get him into Ghostbusters, thinking I like Star Wars and Ghostbusters, you will too. Can't get him into Ghostbusters. Just doesn't work. But my daughter's into Ghostbusters, not into Star Wars.
He's like more of a Luigi's Mansion kind of guy, Dad.
You know what? Right. Whenever we play, he's Luigi. He's Luigi.
Yeah.
I'm a Mario guy. He's a Luigi guy. It's just the way it goes.
Ghostbusters adjacent.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right, guys. But we'll see everybody tomorrow. And
with another Boba Fett picture to complain about. We're 2-0 this week.
Yeah, maybe he'll look fat. Maybe he'll look tall. Maybe he'll look stout. James says, JJ wrote Armageddon. Tell me that isn't a great script. With that, we will end the show. Bye.
It's not about spaceships.
Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show.